Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Shoily Chakraborty and I'm working as a legal intern at LEXIS and Company. The topic of today's video is the Workmen's Compensation Act. The Workmen's Compensation Act is one of the earliest measures taken up for the benefit of labourers, and it is a social insurance legislation. Before the act was passed, any workmen who received injuries during the course of employment had to file suit in court in order to determine the amount of compensation, which at times is lengthy and costly for the worker group. It was in the year 1884 that the question of granting compensation for fatal and serious accidents was realized in India. There arose a need of legislation for the protection of workers working in factories and mining operations. This was due to the growing complexity of industry in this country, with the increasing use of machinery and consequent danger to workmen along with poverty of the workmen themselves, render it admissible, and consequent damages to the workmen along with the poverty of workmen themselves render it admissible that they should be protected from hardships arising from the accidents. Workmen's Compensation Act 1923 is a central legislation which provides for payment of compensation for injuries suffered by a workman in the course of and arising out of his employment according to the nature of injuries suffered and disability incurred. Where death results from injury, the amount of compensation is payable to the dependents of the workman. The object of the Workmen's Compensation is to make provisions for the payment of compensation to a workman only, that is to the concerned employee himself in case by his surviving the injury in question, and to his dependents in the cause of his death. The Act clearly states that the workman needs protection as far as possible from hardships arising from accidents owing to increasing use of machinery with its consequent danger to workmen. The salient features of this Act are as follows. The Act is based on the British pattern. Payment of compensation is made obligatory on all employers whose employees are entitled to claim benefit under the Act. The workman or his dependents may claim compensation if the injury has been caused by accident arising out of and in the course of employment, and case of injury not resulting in death if such accident cannot be attributed to the workman having been at the time of the accident under the influence of drink or drugs, or if it is not caused due to the willful disobedience of rules or orders or disregard of safety devices. The various classes of workers have been specified in the definition of workman in Section 2, Subclause 1 and Schedule 2. Person employed in the administration or clerical capacity and earning more than Rs 1600 per month, except railway servant, were excluded from the benefit of the Act. But now the conditions of average monthly wage limit of Rs 1600 has been abolished. The amount of compensation payable depends in case of death on the average monthly wages of the deceased workman, and in case of an injured workman both on the average monthly wages and the nature of the disablement. In case of total fatal accident, the following provisions are made. All cases of fatal accident are to be brought to the notice of the Commissioner. All the employer admits his liability in the amount of compensation payable is to be deposited with the Commissioner. If the employer admits his liability and at the same time there are grounds for believing compensation to be payable, the dependent get the information necessary to enable them to judge if they should make a claim or not. The Act is administered by the Commissioner for Workmen's Compensation appointed by the state government. The worker cannot claim benefits under the Act and Employees State Insurance Act together. The compensation in case of death ranges from 50,000 to 4.56 lakh rupees, and in the case of permanent and total disablement from rupees 60,000 to 5.48 lakhs. This was a major legislation which protected the rights of workmen working in fields with the increased use of machinery, which made the workplace more hazardous towards their life and personal liberty and life and limb of the individuals working. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel.